Happy Chanukah, everyone. Chanukah's coming up this Sunday evening, and I thought I'd like to review a little bit with you some of the background of Chanukah, a little history of Chanukah, how Chanukah is observed today, and we'll go from there. It's really exciting. I love Chanukah, as most people do, but just so everyone knows, it's not one of our major holidays. As a matter of fact, it's not even considered a Yom Tov, meaning there's no special services for it. It's really just a day to commemorate the military victory of the Maccabees over the Assyrian Greek armies, and also the miracle of the Chanukah menorah. The miracle of the menorah oil lasting for 8 days instead of just one. To give you maybe a modern context, it'd be as if your cell phone was at 10% and it lasted for 8 days without being charged. That's to give you a modern context. All right, so Hanukkah story begins around 172 BCE. All right, 172 BCE. And the Assyrian Greek army comes in and conquers the land of Israel. Remember, this is during the Second Temple period, and it took about 4 years for the Maccabees under Judah, the military leadership of Judah, and the overall leadership of the rebellion was Matisyahu, the Kohen, the priest who was in power at the time for the Jewish people, to defeat Antiochus Epiphanes IV and the Assyrian Greek army. So 168 was the year, the 25th of the month of Kislev in the Jewish calendar, and that was when the military victory was complete. The miracle of the oil was when they came in to rededicate the temple, and they lit the oil knowing they only had enough for the one day, but the miracle was that it lasted for 8 days. The only real reference in Jewish texts is in the Talmud. For those unfamiliar with the Talmud, it is a combination of the Mishnah, the oral law, and the Gemara, the rabbi's commentary on the oral law. And there's basically one paragraph in the booklet talking about Shabbat, and it says, "What is Hanukkah?" And it talks about the oil lasting for 8 days, says nothing about the military victory. And if you think about it, it makes sense. The Talmud, or the Mishnah, was composed during the Roman occupation, the Roman conquering of Israel, and I think the rabbis thought it would be best served not to talk about a military rebellion when they're being conquered by the Romans. So that's one of the reasons why there's very little in Jewish rabbinic texts. There is a book of the Maccabees, and it is part of our Apocrypha, our additional books, because it was post-biblical in nature. So that's a little bit of the background. So the Maccabees defeat the Assyrian Greeks. They light the menorah in the temple, and here we have Hanukkah. So the laws in terms of the commandments regarding Hanukkah is very simple. Light the candles, like the Chanukah menorah, called a Chanukah, and we say prayers of thanks and praise. There's really nothing else in terms of the commandments. We do have customs surrounding Hanukkah. One of them is to eat food cooked or made with oil. And so potato latkes, especially from the European tradition, is very important. The potato latkes, potato pancakes, cooked or fried in oil. I must tell you, though, if you are health conscious and don't like to eat a lot of fried foods, you can make a nice salad with an oil and vinegar dressing and you're good to go because there's oil there. So that's really it in terms of the traditions. More recently, it has been become accustomed to give gifts on Hanukkah. I must tell you, there's nowhere in Jewish literature that that's actually a thing. That's really relatively recently, and I think because Hanukkah normally occurs around the secular holidays that occur at this time, that has become part and parcel of our Hanukkah celebration. As an aside, and I'll talk about this in a couple months, we do have a gift-giving holiday, and that's Purim, which occurs late winter, early spring. So we'll talk about that later. So that's Hanukkah in a nutshell. But there are a couple of stories that I did want to share with you. There are two amazing stories of heroes during the Hanukkah time, and they were both surrounding some righteous women in our tradition. The first one is sort of a sad story. It's the story of Hannah and her 7 sons. Now, the Assyrian Greeks really didn't want to kill anybody. They just wanted to bring democracy to the land of Israel, meaning no more temple where there's a hierarchy of priests and Levites and Israelites. You know, there's a hierarchy there, and they didn't want any of that. Everybody's the same according to Greek culture. And so the Assyrian Greeks were just interested in us converting. They really didn't want to kill us. However, if you didn't want to convert, if you continued to observe laws that the Assyrian Greeks didn't want you to observe, like circumcision, remember the Greeks, they worshiped the body. And so if you did anything that they considered to damage the body, like circumcision, that was something that they prohibited. And so if you did that, then they would kill you. If you studied Torah, which was prohibited, then they would kill you. By the way, the rabbis instituted the study of the prophets during this time. Today, we call it the Haftorah. We read a portion from the prophets which gives the same lessons as the Torah reading. And it's a wonderful thing that we have the Haftorah. We continue to torture our 13-year-olds with making them learn this, and so it serves a purpose even to today. The other tradition that they banned was the announcing of the new moon, because without knowing when the new moon occurs, we don't know when to observe our Jewish holidays. So the Assyrian Greeks had it going on, and those were the prohibitions. Then they would kill you if you did any of this. However, there were groups of people who stood up against the Assyrian Greeks. One of these families was Hannah and her sons. She had 7 sons, and each of them were commanded by Antiochus to bow down to an idol. They refused, and so each of them were killed right in front of Hannah's eyes. Antiochus then said he was going to marry Hannah and have sons through her, that he would make them bow down to idols. And so Hannah, in a questionable move, threw herself off the parapet of the temple and died right in front of Antiochus. She's considered a heroine. Her sons are considered heroes because rather than bow down to idols, they chose death. The second story that I want to share with you, again, a hero, a heroine actually, was a woman named Yehudit, Judith. Her story is quite different. An Assyrian Greek general by the name of Holofernes, his army had surrounded their town, a town that was trying to rebel, And she decided to become a double agent, so to speak. And she snuck into the Greek headquarters and presented herself to Holofernes with gifts of food. And she would bring this food each and every night, telling Holofernes when it would be best to attack her town. She and her servant, her maidservant, would bring food each and every night. And each night she would say, one more night, they're getting closer. You're going to be ready to attack this town. They'll be ready to be defeated. And so the very last night, she brings very salty foods to Holofernes. And they have a banquet, and they eat, and they drink, and they drink, and he drinks, and he drinks, when he becomes so drunk that he falls asleep. Judith then takes his own sword and decapitates him. And when the Assyrian Greek army is ready to attack, she holds out the decapitated head and they run off. The Jewish townspeople overrun the Assyrian Greek army, and they are defeated in this area of Israel. It was one of the many heroic events that took place, in addition to what the Maccabees did to defeat the Assyrian Greeks and drive them out of Israel with the ultimate victory and the rededication of the temple. So these stories are contained in the book of Maccabees. As I said, it's not part of our Tanakh, not part of our biblical narrative, but the text is found, and these stories are contained in these texts. The lighting of the menorah will be the last topic for my little talk with you today. We start, and I'll do it as you're facing the menorah. So we start on the right-hand side, lighting the first candle. Each night we add a candle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We take the shamash, the candle in the middle, and we light each candle one by one. The first night we light the first candle. The second night we light the second, then the first. The third night we light 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this particular menorah has the shamash, or the helper candle, in the middle. Many of them have the candle either to the right or to the left where it's raised. All of that is legal as long as the other candle holders are all the same height, as you see here. Doesn't matter how high the shamash is. It could be this tall. It could be as a little taller than you see right here. As long as it's taller than the rest, and the remaining cups where we would place either a candle or oil are all the same level. Okay? So that is our little talk on Chanukah. We recite the blessings over the candles. We recite blessings of, or words of praise and thanks during Chanukah. And that is our celebration. Hope if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me here at the synagogue. Wishing everyone a Chag Chanukah Sameach, or Freiliche Chanukah. Be well.